All month long, DBL honors Black history.
I remember going to my grandmother's house where we count tales of childhood and not being able to go into certain stores, stay in certain hotels, stop at certain gas stations. And I remember at such a young age how crazy that sounded to me, but also how recent it was because the people that I was talking to were very much alive and thriving.
Powerful. Welcome back to DBL. It's the start of Black History Month, and all month long, Al and Erica are sharing their personal connection to the fight for civil rights and talking about the importance of Black history. Al, that was absolutely thought-provoking. Please, you have the floor.
You know, it's all true, Sam. And, you know, it's weird. Earlier this week, I was thinking about, you know, talking to my kids about traveling and how they used to have to like call the airport and like somebody would pick the phone up and you'd be like, I want to go to Phoenix. And how crazy that would sound to my kids because how antiquated it is. I mean, in a weird way, that's how I felt listening to my grandparents talk about sundown towns, where there were towns, especially in the South, where Black folks should not be out in public at night because it was not safe for them. And now you think of, oh, I'm going to Nashville this weekend. Oh, I'm going to Mobile. And no one thinks twice. But I mean, this was not that long ago, Copy.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's such a weird thing to be in this seat, like, and to have cameras that apparently go somewhere.
How so?
You know, yeah, because, you know, I feel like so much of what we're doing is a part of history, and there's so much responsibility that I feel, I know you feel, Al, we've had these conversations about, you know, really preserving the legacy of not only our ancestors, but for people who have come before us, who have afforded us the ability to sit in the seat and speak our truth from our level of understanding from so many people who have come before us in order to ensure that this happened. And so, I appreciate that, like when you were talking about the sundown towns, when I was with my father going back to his hometown when my aunt, his sister, unfortunately passed away, and it was a very jarring experience to go to where he's from,
which is
in Red Springs, North Carolina, and him talk about this is the shack of where I was born, with no electricity and no plumbing and no flooring, and it was just, you know, the way we lived our lives. And this is where I went for the first time, and you know, white folks were allowed in there, or we were allowed in there with white folks for the first time, like not that long ago.
Right. Not that long.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate you being so transparent. I appreciate both of you.
We've come a long way way to go, and I know it's cliche and people have said it before, but I think it does a disservice to the people that lay down their lives for us to say, it's still a problem, we've done nothing. No, we have. Things have changed for the better. Things are better than they were 10 years ago. Things are better than they were 20 years ago. And we have to acknowledge that, because I think to not do that is to do a disservice to the memory of all the people that are no longer here, that can hug their children because of what they gave up for us to sit at this panel and chill out.
Beautifully said. Know your history too. Speaking of which, two of the civil rights movement's most important figures, Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, are the subject of a new series that premieres tonight on Nat Geo and tomorrow on Hulu. Kelvin Harrison Jr. plays MLK Jr. and in a recent Q&A, he said one of the coolest parts about the show was learning about their characters. He shared that he was shocked to learn that MLK Jr.'s birth name was actually Michael, and he was renamed after his father visited Germany. Wow. And possibly planted that seed, right? Those are your formative years to be told, because apparently Martin Luther King Jr.'s father told him, this is a purposeful name.
Right.
I want you to be purposeful.
Yeah. Well, it's important. That's the reason why critical race theory, that's the reason why preserving the ability to tell Black history, which is American history, is so crucial and important, not just so that you can misappropriate and utilize quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King, who you know so little about, in order to forward your personal agenda for something that it was not intended for.
Well said. Well said.